from one court case that has a lot of racial divide to another court case that has a little racial divide sprinkled in with a little bit of gender divide. Because for those of you who don't know who this is, or for those of you who have forgotten, this is Rhoda Osmond, better known on the streets as Brick Lady, who went viral after recording an interaction where no men helped her after she was hit upside her head with a brick by a man who didn't get her number after he asked for it and she said no. And when the story was just that, you had a lot of people talking about black men not wanting to help women in need, not wanting to come to their defense.
So let me clarify this. Are y'all telling us that if you are not related to us, if you are not dating us, if you're not having some sort of physical relationship to us, if you don't find us attractive, if you don't find us polite enough, kind enough, quiet enough, that our lives are not worth protecting? Is that what you're telling us?
And you had some individuals saying, why would I come to their defense? I'm not Batman. I don't know the scenario. And if I end up dead, who's going to care about me in the efforts of me trying to help a random stranger? I was one of those people that was in that camp, because I'll be damned if I'm helping in any scenario that I don't have full detail or even partial understanding of what's going on. Because if I do that and then we both get our asses kicked, then what? Nothing? Oh, that's what I thought. And as the story went on, we've come to find out that it had a lot of holes in it, and it had a lot of misguided perceptions, and it had a lot of people puffing their chest out trying to be the hero of the story as they sit on their front porches, in their cars, or at their homes states away, not really interacting with this in any capacity whatsoever.
Woman known as Brick Lady charged in Houston after being accused of making the whole thing up, raising $42,000. So nobody read the article though, huh? Consciously, when are you gonna apologize? Because that little heifer was scamming. I told you she was scamming, she was lying. When you gonna apologize? The apology better be as loud as the support for her too. And before we even get into what the article proves and disproves, let's state the obvious. A lot of y'all don't have as much hope and legitimacy into the system or the legal process until it's about disproving support of a black woman. Then all of a sudden, y'all become legal advocates, because just a couple of days ago, y'all was all about Martin Luther Majors being a victim of the system because his victim lied about the details in which how it happened. The article proves that she was assaulted, but that she did not give the correct details about how it happened. According to charging documents, Osmond and Douglas were in an argument, and Douglas reportedly swung his right hand while holding what appeared to be a plastic bottle and struck Osmond in the face. Now, why is the headline written in the way to presume she made the whole thing up when the article itself states that she was assaulted, but that she allegedly lied about how she was assaulted?
Maybe because she was the one that said she was hit upside her head with a brick?
So for the people in the back, the reason why she's being charged with fraud is because law enforcement has said, no, you were assaulted, but you lied about how you said you was assaulted. Therefore, all the money you raised is fraud, which literally leaves me scratching my goddamn head. Now, the GoFundMe that is being called into question was about helping her recover and paying for medical bills because she was assaulted. Now, the article itself states that she was assaulted. So what a fraud come in? So y'all gonna piss on my hand and tell me it's raining, huh? The article also states they were able to find video of the defendant and another person who they believe was the accused assaulter. They got in the car. They both got out the car. The defendant slapped the male, who responded by slapping her back. He did have a water bottle in his hand, and we think that's what left a mark on her face, but it was mutual combat. That's what they said.
Which means the entire gimmick of a man asked me for my number and I said no, and in response I got a brick or a water bottle upside my head is a lie.
So they charged this woman with fraud because she said she was hit by a brick, but they said she was hit by a water bottle, but they do acknowledge she was hit. They do acknowledge it was marks left on her face. So she can't get a GoFundMe to take care of what. And then this really the part that had me scratching my ass. TikTokers provide police information on Osmond false claims past alleged scams. During the investigation, detectives said they received call from Daphne Sutton, a mental health advocate and blogger on TikTok, who believed Osmond was conducting a scam because similar situation happened in Minneapolis in 2020. Daphne Sutton, the queen of accountability that literally made about 30, you know what I'm saying, it's exaggeration. I say probably like 10 to 15 different Twitter videos about her calling Houston law enforcement and saying, hey, Ro, yeah, she's scamming. Queen of accountability. So according to law enforcement, it was a plastic water bottle that left this mark on her face. Not no saline, not no injections, not that she made it up. Like, it was a water bottle, apparently. Second thing, They claim in the article it was mutual combat. That's what the law enforcement said, but one individual had a object, the other one did not, and the individual that had an object was a man, but it's mutual combat. Interesting.
Yes, because when you hit first and then you get hit back, that is mutual combat. I'm not certain what you're trying to say here. That's a lie. I do know what you're trying to say. You're making it a big issue because it's between a man and a woman, and the man hit the woman after getting hit with an object. Not really much fair, but still mutual fucking combat. And as it went on, it came to the understanding that Rhoda was not really a trustworthy individual, and it's led to now where she's going to be in court, I believe at the end of July, facing a potential 2 to 10 years in prison because of all the lying and deceitful actions. And apparently a lot of financial documents will be brought to the forefront to try to get an understanding on whether or not this person is trying to scam a bunch of people in the efforts of trying to live it up as a strong, independent black woman in the year 2025, the most disrespected group in American history. Credit to Queen of Accountability for this, the only person who's been dedicated to keeping her foot on that woman's neck. Rhoda Osmond is officially headed to jury trial on July 24th of 2025. I said last year that taking this to trial would be a dumb move, and I was right. Her entire history is coming with her, from prostitution charges and crashing into a wall while driving under the influence to giving police a fake name, and even her past scam in Minnesota that netted her nearly $5,000. It's all admissible. The prosecution will also be using the videos I sent to the detective, her TikToks, Instagram lives, and Facebook clips where she threatened people and mocked the legal proceedings. Let's not forget the interviews she did with content creators while under investigation. Every bit of it is now part of discovery. GoFundMe's risk manager is set to testify, and subpoenas were issued for all her financial records, including donations she received via Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. If found guilty, she's looking at 2 to 10 years. And the kicker, she was already on probation for assault before the brick incident, meaning she violated that too. Do I think she's going to jail for 10 years? No. Would it be funny if she went to jail for 10 years because of this? Yes, because you have to remember how this started and how people painted this. You started at someone claiming that a man got rejected and became belligerent, something that has occurred throughout history and is a poor look on men in their emotional responses to being rejected, whether it be in private or in public. And we find out through time and all these think pieces coming out that this story had several holes in it, and people were not willing to admit that the story had holes in it because they were destined to just sit there and say, even if the story has holes in it, or even if it comes out to not be true, this is still a real thing. Put a pin in that because I'm going to deal with that later. And as it's gone on, you find out that this woman has a track record of lying and being deceitful and playing this weird game where she puts on, for some reason, stunts with white dudes asking if she could slap them and then record it and then walk off and pretending to be this strong, independent woman who don't need no man and don't have to suffer from the wrath of seeing men in their common society.
If you ever fuck with Breonna Taylor ever again.
Now we get to this point where, whether it's because of an ego being boosted by other people in the background or you yourself wanting to prove to everybody that you ain't no liar, we are now going to court over either stolen funds, funds misappropriated, or an issue to finally solve if you got hit upside your head with a brick. Time will tell how this plays out, and it's not really looking too good because as you've sat there and tried to proclaim to be this strong person who's been fighting back against a bunch of people online, it's made your story have so many holes in it. It's made people look at you as if you're not trustworthy. Yes, you still got some defenders out there. Yes, you got people who in one breath will fan the flames of division between black men and black women, but when the story falls apart, they will get there and say, oh, I'm sorry for doing that. And then months down the road, because people have forgotten that this was still an active thing going on, they'll go right back to fanning flames of division like nothing ever happened. And it's embarrassing how people got to that point. And if I'm going to end this on any note, I'm going to pull that pin out that I mentioned earlier. There are too many examples of people popping up a story that is either fake or has some gaps in the knowledge that would lead people to believe the initial part of the story that went viral isn't really how it went down. And people will look at that and say, doesn't matter because we still got real examples out there.
So a few people have messaged me about the whole Brick Lady situation and how she got arrested for the fraud and this and that. Well, first off, it's saying that she's being accused. It doesn't actually say that she's guilty, which means she could still go to trial. And if a jury finds her story believable enough, then she's innocent. Now, second off, I still believe the story. Do I believe it happened to her? Don't know. I did at first, but I still wholeheartedly believe that as a woman, you could be minding your own business and a man will ask you for your number. And when you tell him no, he'll get aggressive enough and hit you upside the head with a brick. I wholeheartedly believe that.
And that, just for me, pisses me off because those real examples you could have made viral. Those real examples you could have brought to the forefront. But instead, people got into various arguments and causalities about a fake story or a story that got too many gaps in it. And now they want to wash their hands away from it because they went viral saying something that doesn't line up with the actual truth. And now they got to sit there with egg on their face, coming up with another excuse to try to get people off their back. And I, who has said this numerous times, will say it again. That does not work. You spent time propping up something with bullshit in it instead of propping up something that was real, and that's nobody's fault but your own. As somebody who likes to puff out and say, I care about this, you seemingly don't have the energy to get back on here and say, hey, we got to focus on the real issues. Yeah, we got this wrong, and that's bullshit. Fuck that story, and fuck how wrong it was. Now let's focus on some real thing. Don't puff your chest out and say, oh, well, I might have been wrong about this, but there's still real examples out there. Are you going to ignore it? No one should ignore people getting assaulted. No one should really ignore propping up a story where somebody's not getting enough justice and bring that to the forefront so that we could maybe speed run to the justice end of the story. What I'm gonna need for you motherfuckers that just like hearing something and then going off on it, actually use your mind to think critically just a little bit and wait just a little longer. That way you could find out if something is true or if something's a lie or if something has holes in it. And via all the holes, you got to fill them in to make sure that you get the actual full scope of what the truth actually is. And for Brick Lady, it seems as time has gone on, we're finding out more and more that you're not a trustworthy individual. And I'm still trying to figure out what strength one has to have to use any object to turn your skull into a makeshift body pillow. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know. Do you think Brick Lady is going to jail? Do you think she's going to jail for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Is she going to jail at all? Can she beat the case? Is she going to end up paying money? Were you stupid enough to give her money? Do you think people should be Batman in every scenario? Do you think people should scope the scene before they start helping individuals? Do you think everybody should just blindly start helping individuals at any point, at any time, at any moment of the day? And I will see you all in the next one. Mwah! Goodbye.